G'day. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome into GarageBand Weekly for yet another week. My name is Pete Johnson. For the next hour or so, we'll be chatting about all things GarageBand, Apple related, just technology and music related in general. We do it each and every week, and we do it thanks to my GarageBand guide. Not my GarageBand guy, but my GarageBand guide. No, let's not call it that. Let's call it my GarageBand FAQ at studiolive today.com/GarageBand because, my mate Patrick has the GarageBand guide and no one else would call themselves GarageBand guide or band guide or anything like that. That wouldn't be cool. So if you jump on over, you can check out my GarageBand guide at studiolive today.com/GarageBand. Did I call it a guide again? I did. We actually have news today, and we actually have something fun to look at. It is the brand new sound pack. Yes, whenever you see this little one next to Sound Library, you know we got something new and potentially cool. And I'll be checking it out for what is really the first time. The reason it's my first time is that I've been away. I went to Sydney with the family for 4 days, which is why we had some pre-recorded shows last week. I saw Hamilton and bought the T-shirt. I don't know what it is. I just buy T-shirts now because I know how much that performers rely on the merchandise sales. And look, I'm sure Hamilton and the cast of Hamilton are not short of $1 or two, but it just feels right. I don't know. If I go to something and I enjoy it, I buy the T-shirt. Go figure. Thank you to all the folks who are here live. If you do enjoy the show here today, you are welcome to hit the thumbs up button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, you can do that. And there's a heap of ways that you can support me by donating. And we've got Link Slinger Thomas Christ in here telling you how to donate, how to become a channel member, or even how to support me on Patreon. You have all of those options. We'll say g'day to the folks who are here live. We'll jump into a few news and notes because there's a few little details and things to talk about. And then we will spend a big chunk of time on the new sound pack and find out what it is all about. I know, it's all so exciting. G'day to Thomas Christ. Hello to Eric B. I hope you are well. Hello, Emilio Gamboa-Leon. Hello to Mark Bro and Jade Star Music. Hello to Audible Video. Hello to Chaos Hill Studio. Hello to you. Who haven't I said g'day to? If you're here, and you haven't said hello, then hello. I hope you are well and doing goodly. We will dive in and check out what is in the pack shortly. But first, we must hello Daniel. Daniel, hello Sylvie. G'day to you. Yes, not an 808 in sight. Look, sound packs are never going to be for everyone. That's the first thing to keep in mind. Hello, Joe and Barry Glenn. And they're not going to be for the sort of creators that they are for. Are folks who are usually sort of more starting out, more just looking for some sounds. If you can play guitar yourself, you probably don't need a guitar sound pack. That's kind of that's the vibe I went in with. So will I even be disappointed going in with low expectations? Who knows? I'm a pretty positive person. We'll find out soon enough. News and notes. So we have the new sound pack. It is Tosin Abasi, and it's available in all your platforms. So your GarageBands and your Logic Pros across all your different devices. You can go and download it now. It contains some loops. Yeah, it's an all loop pack. So if you were excited because you thought that the guitars might get updated or the bass guitars updated, or maybe even some new, I thought maybe we'd get some new amp tones or maybe even some new drums, new drummer loops or new drummer potentially. But no, it's just guitar. And this seems to be the way that the way that Apple are going with GarageBand of late is that with these producer packs, they're leaning more on loops. We haven't actually seen any different alchemy patches or actual instruments since the Mark Ronson pack. All the other producer packs have been very heavily loop based and only a few alchemy samples. I think the days of things like the World Instruments having their own brand new instruments coming in, like that was next level, wasn't it? When the World packs came out and suddenly we had an Erhu and a Pipa and a Guzheng and all these things. Yeah, I don't see that happening in the future. But I've been surprised before. I also famously said that Logic Pro would never come out for iPad. So you just never know, do you? You never know. We also have iOS 18.3, which has just dropped. Now, do I have to even say it, folks? Do we have to all sing along? If you're in the middle of a major project, please don't update to iOS or iPadOS 18.3. It's only a tiny update. It doesn't really add much. It's got a few little bug fixes and a couple of little feature changes. The biggest feature change is what they've removed. So I talked about it on last week's show, but in iOS and iPadOS 18.3, they've removed the summarize feature. So if you were really enjoying those wacky summaries where it said, you got a long message, but here's a summary of it. The sun is hot. And the actual message is, please remember to wear sunscreen because it's going to be 40 degrees Celsius today at the beach. And the summary is like, beach hot, sunburn. And you're like, thanks, Apple. Well, guess what? They agree. And they have removed that. So no more summaries of your messages or anything in your iOS devices. But there are a few other tweaks and changes. You can check all those out over on the Apple website and then release notes. But again, don't update. I know plenty of people who are still happily on 17.7. 17.7 is still perfect. It is still secure. You have no problems at all. If you don't need any of the Apple Intelligence features, in all honesty, there's really nothing requires 18 right now. Except this new sound pack in GarageBand, because you will need the new GarageBand. You will need 18 to get the new sound pack. So there you go. Jade Star is installing on all devices. There you go. Maybe by the end of the show, Jade can give us an update and see if anything exploded or if it was all good. Just started using GarageBand Desktop after 2.5 years on the iPhone. Yeah, look, that happens too. A lot of people will go from one to the other. They'll go from GarageBand to Logic Pro, or they'll go from GarageBand iPhone or iPad to GarageBand Mac. And just be ready for a small learning curve. I must admit, Logic Pro, it was easier going from GarageBand to Logic Pro on iPad than it was going from GarageBand to GarageBand Mac. GarageBand Mac has some wackiness to it. There's a few things where things are not quite where you think they would be. And it takes a while to get used to exactly where that is. Like trying to export a mix and you have to go to like share, bounce to disk. Like it feels a little clunky at first, but you will get there. You'll get onto it. Not available on Logic Pro for Mac. See, I hadn't checked that because I only got back like a day ago. I haven't actually checked that. So, which is weird, isn't it? Does anyone else find that strange that they would release these things on Logic Pro for iPad, GarageBand Mac, and not on Logic Pro for Mac? That doesn't really make any sense, does it? Like, what's the holdup here, folks? And what would happen if you created the project in GarageBand and then moved over to Logic? I guess it would bring them over, wouldn't it? Because there are only loops, it would bring them over because it would just save them as audio files and bring them across. Seems weird. Yeah, look, it's cool, absolutely. But I've had a lot of people lately excuse Rick, a lot of folks lately have moved from and they come to me for questions, and I'm like, Patrick. And they're like, what do you mean? Patrick isn't the answer. I'm like, yes, it is. Patrick is the answer. Go check out the GarageBand guy. Patrick's been doing this for more than 10 years, and he's got everything covered. So the reason I don't try to do a whole lot with GarageBand Mac is because Patrick exists, and I don't have to. That may be why I don't have it in Logic. Yeah, okay, and that may be the case. Okay. Crisis averted. Yeah, might need to update the Mac version, which I need to do. Everyone should read the pros called Always Wear Sunscreen if you haven't already. Baz Luhrmann did a remix of it, but it was from a commencement speech a long time ago. Yes, if you have not heard, it's actually the Wear Sunscreen. It's like everybody's free. I think it's a sort of mashup. It's called Everybody's Free to Wear Sunscreen or something like that. It's awesome. Yeah, it basically talks about all these different things, like enjoy your youth and do all these things, and kind of to spoil it, ends with and be careful who you take advice from, and that sticks with me for all time because it's like, yeah, people that have experience with things, and you can make the reference across to music, can't you? The people that have the most experience will tell you exactly what to do, but they can only tell you that based on their experience and their opinion and what's happened to them. It may have no bearing on you whatsoever, but people and it talks about this in that speech/song, which is that, yeah, people enjoy it because they get the nostalgia of passing and of thinking about what they did in the past and passing down their knowledge to other people without always fact checking it or checking whether it's the appropriate thing for the person they're giving the information to. And we've all been there, haven't you? And we've all probably provided that information as well. Yes, go do it. Yeah, but trust me on the sunscreen. I think that's what it ends with, isn't it? It's like do this, do this, do this, do this, and always take advice with a grain of salt. But trust me on the sunscreen. Absolutely. Sylvie says I came back to GarageBand on my iPad. I struggle much with the Mac. I've no patience. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's a lot to learn, but stick with it. You will get there. But yeah, GarageBand on iOS is just so super simple. Even when I'm doing production on Logic Pro, just going back whenever I go back and I open up and I go to a new project and it gives me this, not that screen, but this screen, and I can just be like, oh, I just want to play some keyboard. It's just so good. Your daughters roll their eyes. Yeah, mine too. Mine too. Hello, Olaj. I hope you are well. Al Davis says, the older I get, the more relevant the lyrics to Baz Luhrmann's Sunscreen become. Yeah, me too. It is really, really cool. Maybe if we have time at the end. I can't play it because I'll get copyright content claimed. But yeah, it is really, really cool. I dig it. I've wanted to... at one stage, I was actually working on this. Back when I had a day job, I was working on... I did a couple of verses of it, and I've lost them now to time and to space. But I wanted to do that one about music devices, like with guitars and like just using music terms and advice instead of the sort of life ones. But never got anywhere with that. The only other news to talk about is we talked about it last week, and I was going to do more of a feature on this week's show, but then Apple dropped a brand new sound pack, so I'm not going to. But the whole TikTok, social media, China banning stuff is still an absolute mess. It's the messiest mess that ever messed, as someone put a comment on last week's show saying, CapCut's back in the US. And I'm like, yeah, for now. But yeah, the latest on this is that Apple, last I checked, it may have all changed. Since I went to bed last night and got up this morning, everything may be different. But last time I checked, Apple and the app stores are still not listing TikTok, the app, for anyone to download as a new app. The new what's his name president, that old mate, old bloke, said, "Oh no, don't worry, yous are fine. We won't sue you. We won't get you in troubles or nothing." And they went, "Nah, still not doing it." So yeah, which is exactly what you would do as a corporation. Me as a tiny business, at Studio Live today, if Apple said, "Here, Pete, we're actually banning the use of GarageBand, but you are allowed to use it." The law will say you're not, but don't worry, we got your back on this one, Johns. I would say, thank you. No, I will not be doing that. Trusting just the words of a politician of all people, let alone a major company. No, I don't care what side of the fence you are on. Yeah, trusting the word of a politician that don't worry, even though it's illegal, even though it's signed into law, even though it got passed by the Supreme Court like 9-0, you're cool. We cool. Don't worry. Just go ahead. So yeah, Apple, I assume for now and the distant future, will not have that until there's actually a law. Yeah, there you go. Until a long-term deal is finalized. And that's the thing. You might be thinking that President What's-His-Face is going to come in and save the day and say, oh, yeah, he's just going to reverse it. Can't actually do that. All that thing can do is put a halt on it, and until it's divested from China. So ByteDance have said, we're not selling, we're not divesting this, we're going to continue being owned by a Chinese company. And the US government have said, you will be banned unless you divest and sell. So it's not fixed by any stretch of the imagination. I'm sorry if you really love your TikTok and you want to see people dancing and doing flash mobs and all that fun stuff. I'm sorry, you'll have to go to YouTube Shorts, which I didn't until my children told me. I didn't realize was like an insult. Apparently, the kids, TikTok is the cool one. And YouTube Shorts is what like your little brother or little sister has to watch because they don't have TikTok. And yeah, apparently it's an insult. It's like, oh, you're just a YouTube Shorts watcher. And I'm like, oh my God, can you imagine? YouTube Shorts, the Squire of social media. Hey, Squires are good. I've played Squires and they are good. Anyway, the only thing you can reverse in this world is your car. That's true. Yep. Yeah, maybe don't. Maybe don't trust a convicted felon politician. That's probably the worst person in the world to trust. Again, I don't care. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. I don't care who you vote for. Yeah, trusting a convicted felon politician is probably a bad idea. I wouldn't even trust me because I don't always have the right information. So yeah, be careful. Yeah, you like my cup? It's my Studio Live Today mug. I need to relaunch all my merch, but I'm very slow with stuff. Get back onto it. Let's make that a February thing, shall we? Yeah, that's true. Yep. If we could see no politicians dance, even when Barack used to, get up there and strut his stuff, it's like you're the most awkward looking dude. Like you look at him and you're like big, tall guy. He should be able to bust a move on the dance floor, and it's just like because he just doesn't want to. No politician wants to get that one shot, that still shot that makes him look like a dork. Yet by not doing that, they end up doing it anyway. Where are we? Let's talk about some music, shall we? Yeah, let's dive in here to this brand new sound pack because regardless of whether you have TikTok and regardless of what apps you are using, the one app you can use for free on your iPhone or iPad is GarageBand. And if we tick and click on this one and we come into our new sound pack, there it is, Tosin Abasi Producer Pack. Now, if you've never used sound packs before, I know many of you have, but if you've never used sound packs before, you can come up here to your manage packs. And this is probably the easiest place because this will show you every pack and you'll see, oh, why don't I have the modular melodies? Okay, I'll get that. I don't know why I don't have that one on this. But there it is. There's Tosin Abasi. And producer packs, as I mentioned up front, are a little different from your regular packs because they don't often have the full kit and caboodle. With your regular packs, you'll get things like a live loops grid. You'll often get drums, new drum sounds. You'll often get new keyboards or patches for alchemy, as well as loops, as well as other things. Whereas your producer packs, it's one producer and they're usually focused on what they are best at. So it's usually not something that's got a whole lot of variety. So for instance, we had the Corey Wong pack, which was a pretty good sort of guitar-y based pack. That was the last time, and that was over a year ago. That was the last time we got something that was really, meaty that could actually be used. Now, have I used it for a bunch of stuff? No, and I'll come back to that point that I made at the start, is that this and these sort of sound packs won't be for everyone because they are probably more for folks who are trying to get some sort of guitar-based music and they either don't have a guitar or can't play guitar or aren't collaborating with someone playing guitar. So, I say all that to say let's get it. So you can come in here, you can preview the pack by tapping there. And it will go off and do its little preview thing. Now, I've already downloaded it, and you can see here that it is 170 Apple loops. So, like I said, I didn't get a good chance to play with this while I was away, because what Apple do see is they were like, hey, when's John's having a holiday? Oh, he's away for 4 days in January. Oh, okay, so let's drop the pack on the third day of his holiday. Let's just make sure that it's right in the middle so he can't get something done before he goes. And if he waits till he gets back, then no one will care about it anymore. Let's make him go to work. No, they didn't really think that. And I realized I didn't have to do it, but I did. I just said to the family, hey, if you want to, is it okay if I just do this thing? And they went, yes, thankfully. So I do always check in. I do always ask. So if you think I'm abandoning my family and we're like, we were going to go to the Sydney Harbour Bridge today, kids, but Daddy's got to do a video. No, they were actually like getting ready to go out while I was doing this video. So, sorry, just justifying myself. There you go. It was perfect. I was spot on 11 months ago. I think saying a year when it's 11 months is about as good as it gets. Definitely for me, anyway. That's accurate for mine. I don't know why I'm moving myself. I moved my thing around. I need to lock everything in place, don't I? So let's come in here and check out these sounds. Audio recorder. So to use these, we need to go to our standard grid. Oh, I've got half a song there. That was last week's song. Let's create a new song. Audio recorder, and we're going to go up here to our grid and then go to the loops. So if you've never used these before, we're going to filter by and we'll reset our filter to start with. So we've got every single different type of sound in here. If we tap the filter by, we can go sound packs, and then we can scroll on down and find this one, Tosin Abasi. Tick on that one, go back to filter by and Apple Loops, and we've got just these new riffs. Now I usually start at the top. I'm going to do things another way. We're going to go to the bottom and find something a little bit different. I thought they said waiting for damn chords. I'm waiting for some damn chords. So we can, maybe we'll find something that has like this time spiral. We'll use that in a sec. So if you want to preview some of these. I kind of like that. Waiting for dawn. Oh, sounds like a train. Let's see. Let's try this time spiral. So these ones are obviously a little more mellow. I do wonder, because like if you watch the video of Tosin Abasi, yeah, very, very precise and very technical guitarist. I'm wondering if these are actually going to fit in with the songwriting style of most GarageBand creators, because they're going to be interesting. Let's bring these in and put them on a track and see what we think. So if we bring this on and put it here in 8 bars and give it a play. So this is what I mean. So if you listen to that part, yes, it fits in a 4/4 grid, but it's actually like it's almost a bar of 3/4 and a bar of 5/4 if you're counting along. If we go with this, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So this could make it interesting, because this is where if you're putting things together and say you're bringing a drum on top of this, it's going to be very challenging, I would think, to actually get some drums to line up on this one. So let's come in here and we'll go with, it's going to have to be Anders or Logan, isn't it? We'll go with Anders. Everyone loves Anders, don't they? All right, let's give this a play. Yeah, it's really not going to work unless we're in Logic Pro. So you basically need to go into Logic Pro and actually make it your own, which, yeah, it probably wasn't thought through. So Tosin Abasi probably doesn't use GarageBand. Let's just be honest about that. Most professional musicians that record and record in bands, maybe they use GarageBand as a bit of a scratch pad, but are they using loops and samples and bringing them together? Probably not. They're probably just playing with real drummers that play. Let's just remove that one and try something different. Let's find something a little heavier, shall we? And I'm not saying that to poop on it. There's going to be some cool sounds in here, but I think rather than building your whole song around these sounds, I think these could be like interesting sounds to just throw into a song. But then you got the problem of what key you're in and what key they're in. See, that's a bit more of a 4/4. Still got some syncopation, but let's go with this. Let's go with a snake bite, because I reckon this could be something that we can build up with. So snake bite riff there, and then we've got the second riff. Let's bring this one here. Come on. All right, let's bring this one in at the second bar, so this little rhythm part, so that we can start it with this. I think this is going to be a cool build to something. What other things we got? We got the pad here. Let's bring the pad in here from bar 5 there and see what we're building. All right, I think I like this. I like this little riff here, and I reckon if you could just go a last bar here with just that, I reckon this might build nicely into the first section. All right, let's see if we can if we can move this and get this creating. Let's duplicate that one out so that we're doing the same thing again, but this time we want all of these to go from the start, because this is going to be bass for a song that we can then just workshop. We will loop that one. Boom. All right. And what I might do is create something here in GarageBand and then go and open this in Logic Pro and then just experiment more. Or maybe we'll do something different in Logic Pro and see if we can work with some of those sounds that are in kind of different time signatures. All right, so we've got our 2 sections here. Let's go all sections. Let's add a drummer, because this one will work a little better with a drummer. And I don't really want Anders. Anders is just going to go boom, boom. We've all heard way too many Anders songs, haven't we? I think we could probably go with funky or experimental. Let's go with Graham. I never use Graham. Let's go with Graham. Look at nerdy Graham there with his glasses. Oh, what a nerd. Says me. The only thing I don't have that's nerdy is the glasses. All right. So we will make Graham come in here with some sort of loud and complex, lots of fills. And let's just see what he's going to give us here. All right. We only want half a bar of Graham there. And do we... let's go funky. Let's go Levi. Sorry, Graham. You were in the band for like a second. Then Levi replaced you. Way too loud. We need to turn everything down. And this is what you will find when you start using loops in your GarageBand projects, is that as soon as you use a couple of them together, it's going to be a little intense. Now, someone was asking, sent me an email, I think it might have been Jerry, that was talking about when you're using loops in a GarageBand project, can you move them around? Can you well, he was actually asking about Logic Pro. Can you make them follow the chords in Logic Pro? And the answer is generally not. The first thing we need to do here is work out what key this is actually in. And most of your samples are going to be in A minor. So that's something to keep in mind when you're creating, is a lot of these loops, Apple loops, are actually in the key of A minor. And unfortunately here in GarageBand it won't tell you that. In Logic Pro it gives you a little bit more information about that. So yeah, so if we wanted to change these, we can. So for instance, if we come here and we want to create a new section, let's just duplicate out that one. So we've got a 3rd section here. And let's say we wanted to keep those guitars doing their things, but we wanted to move this pad around. So we'll just solo the pad here, and we've got... So let's say we wanted this, the second version of this. We'll just unloop it there, go back to our trim setting, and copy and paste it in here. If we wanted it to do that, but then go up to another key, we can actually come in here to settings, and we can actually change the semitone, the transposition. So if we wanted to go do, do, let's see if we can go up 3 semitones. Let's see what this is going to do for us. And what you can already hear in there is it doesn't sound great, does it? Because you get artifacts as soon as you adjust it. And people ask me this all the time. They're like, oh man, I want to speed up or slow down or change the tempo or change the tone of my sounds and samples. Why don't they sound as good as the original? Because that's just how sound works. You're adding or you're removing things, and it's going to add artifacts to the sound, so it's not going to sound as good. Will this work with the rest of our sounds here with that different sound? No, not at all. It'll sound terrible. But what if we move these up as well? Let's just try it, just for fun, just to show you that we can do it. Not suggesting that you generally should do it. So it does mean that loop-based songs end up being a little sort of stagnant because you're kind of stuck in that one key when you're playing it, unless the actual loop itself moves around, in which case you're stuck with the one chord progression. So again, loops aren't going to be for everyone, and I don't want to sort of tell people make people sad and go, oh, no, I don't want to use these now. Just play with it. It won't be for everyone, but it might be for you. That's the good part of this. Okay, not terrible. Doesn't sound absolutely awful. I still don't like this drummer. I think we do need someone a little more rocky. Levi's been fired again. Who we want to go with? We want someone from the rock style. Should we get Kyle? Kyle never gets a nod anymore. Come on, Kyle. What do you got for us? Kyle, what are you doing, son? No, that ain't good, Kyle. That is not right. No. Let's go with your paper hearts, shall we? Paper hearts, Kyle. Something a little bit more mellow. All right. Different. Yeah, I think Mark here is right. Maybe we need to half time him. And if you didn't know, your last two options here are 2x and half x. So I think Mark's right. He needs to be like that. Let's half time Kyle. There he is. I reckon he needs to be up on the cymbals too. That's better, isn't it? I don't hate that. I don't hate the little move up there. Da, 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 da. Yeah, for some reason, sometimes they hold back new packs. Yeah, I don't really understand that when they hold them back. It's weird. But no, the halftime Kyle, Mark's suggestion worked very well there. Indeed, better with the halftime. So what if we wanted to use something from a different packing with this one? Well, this is where it gets a little bit interesting because we can come in here and find other sounds. And I wonder if there's one of these bass riffs that's going to work. I kind of like that one. Let's bring this in and let's make this in this third section here. I'm just going to get rid of that organ. We're not actually using that. Although maybe we could bring in an organ at some point. So we've got our bit here. Yeah, and then we'll just need to adjust this bass riff to bring it up. So it kind of works. It's kind of sounding cool. We'll split it out there. And we will change the settings, bring it up the 3 semitones like we did before. Oh, that sounds just awful, doesn't it? Oh, that's because this version doesn't change. Okay. Let's undo that. All right. So we'll leave that. We'll leave that as there. All right. So yeah, there's some options. There's definitely some cool tones. This is And I think it might actually be cool to use some of this in your more sort of ethereal type music, like especially these cleaner tones. Maybe not that one. Like things like the 11th hour stuff, like that 11th hour melody would work well in like a yeah, like a trancey kind of thing with some electronic drums and some lo-fi sounds. So I'm so torn on this sort of stuff because I don't know that I'll use this. But there's so much good stuff in here, and it is so nice. I don't want to. I don't want to say bad Apple because I want them to do more of this stuff, but I want them to just expand it out a little bit more. Like the problem is that if you give an artist like Tosin Abasi a task to say make some cool loops, they're going to make these sort of loops. But you know what we really need? We really need GarageBand guitar samples that are every power chord in about 8 different rhythms. So power chord A minor chug, power chord B chug, power chord C chug, power chord C sharp chug, power chord C chug chug chunk. Like, you know what I mean? If you're actually creating rock music or metal, you kind of want more basic stuff than the complexity of the stuff we're getting here. But I say all that to say it is still nice to see. Chug. Yes, we need some chug. Um, but where I think, and someone made this suggestion, where I think something like this would be cool is to like pick one loop and then build a song completely around it. And maybe that's what we'll do over in Logic Pro. We'll use that 11th hour and we'll create a song around that, not necessarily using that. So let's jump over to Logic Pro, shall we? Because I haven't even downloaded it. So I'll show you how we go about downloading and using these sounds in Logic Pro. We'll come out of that one. We'll create a new project here. We'll go to our sound packs. And same sort of deal, we just tap on the Tosin Abasi here, hit the get button, and that's going to download that. Yeah, bring into sampler and making into an instrument could be interesting. Maybe we'll try that here. I haven't used the sampler enough in Logic Pro. I've probably forgotten how to use it. All right, let's go to our tracks. View here, and we'll just go audio track here just to get ourselves set up. All right. So to find these sounds, we're going to go into loops here, and we've got to get into our tiny little thing where we got to go down to the sound packs. Where is it? Why can't I even see where? There they are, sound packs. This one here, and we scroll across. Tosin Abasi. I think it's in alphabetical order. There it is. Pump. We'll tap on that one. And we're done with our filtering. Now, what did we say we were going to try out? The 11th hour, didn't we? Let's go here with the 11th hour melody. Yep. All right, let's grab this one. And we'll throw it in firstly as a loop. Now, what is that saying? C major 7. C major 7, sharp 11, sustained 2. That's the chord that it's playing. Which is interesting. So let's just loop this one out. We've got our loop button up here, don't we? We'll loop this out over 8 bars. And this one might be fun to add some session players to. Let's just see if we can create something really quickly with our session drummer. We want probably an electronic drummer, don't we? We want something like not acoustic. We want electronic, and we need like maybe like synth pop. We need something sort of quiet that's going to play along with this. No, not that at all. See, this is, oh, no, I don't like it. We need to, I've got to remember how to use drummer now. I've spent so much time in GarageBand of late. So we need do. So what do we need? We need like yeah, no. Yeah, halftime again. It's exactly right. So let's just go with something really simple like this. Boop. Did I not make that guitar go all the way out there? I reckon we can use the keyboard as well here, the keys session player, just to put like some sort of ambient pad going on here. Session player, keyboard player. All right, let's get some nice pad going here. Simple pad, and we want it to be. Let's just see what the default sounds good. Try that again. Oh, go up a bit. Yeah, I probably should use the follow on the drums, shouldn't I, Mark? You are correct. I like it. So you could use some of these sounds for things like that. Let's find some of the other sounds and see if we can add to it. Oh, no, no. Or if we bring this one in here. So you can see this one again is, what is that? E minor, C, G. So it's using completely different sounds there. Let's delete this one and go with this instead and loop this out for our, what's this one? Oh, this is, see, this is the other weird thing. Some of these are like 3 bars in length, which is going to be interesting. So with a lot of these, you might need to be very careful with where you place them. So I reckon that we need to, arg, the clunkiness. We need to be into trim mode, trim. No, it's been too long. Been too long. Too long without you. I don't know what's happening. Every time I click on it, it's doing something weird. And now it's trimming in weird places. John needs to go back to Logic Pro Camp. Yeah, you could do it like that. I kind of got the effect in the end, but I just did it in a very weird way. Every time I'm tapping it, it's bringing up all this weirdness because I'm in the wrong setting. There you go. Just loop it. I think my Magic Keyboard needs a clean because it keeps getting stuck in its spot. So that's another way to use it here. Now, what were we going to do? We were going to try and create an instrument, weren't we? So let's find something that has some... No, we need a more clean one, don't we? Something like that might work. Stop. Stop. I'm terrible. I'm terrible at Logic Pro, apparently. I need to create more music. So the other way that we can use these is instead of dropping it on directly on the track, we can drop it out here and we can turn it into either a sample alchemy or a quick sampler track. Let's just try a quick sampler track. that we can then use. Right, we need to adjust the sample of it, don't we? So here's our quick sampler. Double tap on that one. Oh, Jeebus. Okay. So it's made one of these types. I've got to remember how to change this to, like, there we go, one shot. So we can create a little. So you could create your own guitar sound there. Again, it's never going to sound fabulous, is it? Because it'll always change. And this is what I mean by, like, the artifacts. Is if we play this sound way down here, it's having to, like, remove. There's gaps between the samples. If we play it up here, it's going to be quicker because it has to actually speed it up to change the pitch and to change the tone. So yeah, you could use it that way, but I wouldn't recommend it. But I don't know. I think that there's something here. Am I spending too much time trying to justify it and put a square peg in a round hole? Maybe. So we've created that in Logic Pro. And over here in GarageBand, we made ourselves this little ditty. I reckon we don't have the pad after that. It goes into this. So if you were actually going to be doing a song like this, you'd want it to be like. Got me in the head. You got me in my soul. You got me in control, baby. Yeah. All right, verdict. What do you think? Because, I've played around with this, but I don't know that I would use this for much apart from to maybe use one of these samples to build something around. Maybe that's something I need to do. Maybe when I've showcased this in Logic Pro, because I need to do a video about this in Logic Pro, here on the iPad, because I did a quick version for the GarageBand, the original demo. Maybe that's what we do. Maybe we grab one particular sample and try to build around it. We'll see how we go. So yeah, because it's only loops, there's not much else to show. That's kind of it. Underwhelming, maybe, but is it a good sign? See, here's my thing. I like the fact that there's enough diversity in the range of music that's in GarageBand and Logic Pro now that someone that's not a traditional musician can actually come in here and they've got different sorts of sounds to play with. So they're not just relying on toppers and 808s and beats. They're actually able to use some guitar samples as well. So when the Mark Ronson pack came, I thought that was really cool, the Watch the Sound one, because that had some really interesting sounding instruments and really interesting sounding loops in there. And again, have I used these in my songs? No, but I'm not that kind of producer. So maybe we need to talk to someone who does actually use more loops and samples and see what they think of something like this. Because I think it can only be a good thing for those starting out with GarageBand, for those dipping their toe in the GarageBand waters. I like the fact that it's not just 808s anymore. Yeah. And that's the thing. It'll be perfect for someone, and that's kind of what matters. Yeah, I'd give it a meh. I'd give it a look. And this is no shade on Tosin Abasi. He did the best he could with what's given to him. Because think about it, these have to be pretty much compatible with a 4/4 time, even though he's kind of cheated and done some, 3/3/4/5/4 combos and splits and things. And that's kind of not how he plays. Like a lot of the stuff that, from what the small amount of research I've done into animals as leaders and Tosin Abasi is, it's very out there stuff. So to be able to fit into the GarageBand structure would have been really difficult. As someone who's tried and failed to do my own loops and samples, it is really difficult to get something that is unique enough for people to care about, but is generic enough for everyone to be able to use. And that's the challenge. That's why loops and samples are so good for electronic music that sits in one key, that sits on one chord, that is one rhythm, that's all 4/4, it's all doof, 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 doof. The reason that there's so many packs that are that, and we keep complaining about it, is that that's the sort of sounds that loops work well for. There's a reason that rock bands play instruments and make rock music, and that electronic producers have been using loops and samples for decades. Doesn't mean the two can't mix, they absolutely can, but it's just going to be different. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's an art form in itself. When people say using loops is not creating music, well, yeah, it is, but it's actually quite an art form. Like all we did today was just sort of put some things in rows. It's when you start tweaking the tuning, start tweaking and transposing the sounds, and when you start stretching samples and chopping samples and cutting and that sort of thing, that's where the real art form comes into it. So there you go. We are going to finish early by the looks of it here today. If anyone has any final questions, yeah, let's all go practice our guitar. If anyone has any final questions, feel free to throw them in the chat here, and we'll finish off in just a moment. I'll just need a little bit of coffee. Coffee fuels me, and thank you. Your thumbs up, your likes, and your comments also fuel me. So if you've been watching. And if you're like, regardless of whether you're like, yeah, that's great, yeah, that's terrible, or like most of us, I think, which is meh, then yeah, hopefully you at least got to see what it is. And now you can either dive in there. Hello, Ed Z, by the way, I missed you earlier. You can either dive in there and play with it, or you can go, meh, I'm gonna skip this one. And again, there's nothing wrong with skipping it if it's not going to be for you. Hello, Sean Chandler. Thank you for dropping on by. I hope you are doing well. We do have Mr. Frank Terzo and his ever-growing cast of characters on his show coming up today. That is the Community Pulse. I will be sending you there immediately after this show. Where is it? There it is. It is the 47th edition of the Community Pulse with Frank. And who's he got on the show today? Let's find out, shall we? Featured artist is Falcon Blueser. I know Falcon Blueser, and you do too, most likely. And featured co-host is Michael Songs. So yeah, if you don't know, Frank gets together, usually has a couple of guests with him, and they chat about the guests' music and the community. He has a section where he talks about a whole bunch of penists. Yes, it's always fun. And Frank is just a genuine and really good guy. So live in 80 minutes time. That's an odd time for it to start. Is that on the quarter hour? But if you go over there now, I'll throw a link here in the chat, and you can jump on over to that one and check out Frank and the crew, because he does a good old job over there, our mate Frank. Question from Al Davis. Do you still use Cubase's 3? I gave it a go. It works great. And love using it for things GarageBand can't do, like MIDI exporting. Yeah, look, Cubase's 3 is great. I have lost a bit of touch with it lately. Jamie Mallender is your Cubase's guy, dude. Jamie Mallender. So he's checked out all the latest features, as has Jade Starr. But Jade's a jack of all trades, whereas Jamie focuses very heavily on Cubase's. So yeah, if you want to see a lot of the Cubase's stuff, check out Jade or Jamie. But yeah, I have in the past. And I like it. And to be honest, if Logic Pro didn't come out when it did, I think Cubase's would have a much bigger fan base, and a lot more people like me would be using it a lot more often. I just think it doesn't quite do everything Logic Pro does. And I just find the interface, although after watching me trying to stumble through Logic Pro today, you might be thinking, Johns, you should probably go back to Cubasis. But yeah, no, I like it. It does good things. The effects are good, but the really good ones are the paid ones, whereas Logic Pro kind of just gives you everything. So yeah, the add-ons within Cubasis for the effects, you do have to pay a little bit extra for, but the benefit is once you pay for it all, you got it all forever until Cubasis 4 comes out. There was a bit of controversy when Cubasis 2 turned into Cubasis 3, and everyone had to kind of rebuy it. But that's just their business model. That's the way that they work it, as opposed to a subscription where you're just constantly paying for updates. So yeah, short answer is no. But I have been meaning to get back into it because I know that they've added a bunch of new features, and I've seen Jade and Jamie demoing them. And yeah, it looks like it is pretty much up to the level of Logic Pro these days. It just doesn't have a few of its built-in sounds aren't great either, but then again, neither like GarageBand are. But Logic Pro, I think, benefits from having so many different sounds and things like the session players. Once Logic Pro added session players, that was kind of a game changer because I use those a lot for things like drums as well. That is going to do it for this one. Hello, Adorable Anarchy. Thanks for dropping in at the last minute. We are just finishing up here, though. So I wanted to say thank you for your support over the weekend. If you caught any of the live shows, we will be back to do it all again next week. We've got Your Music Live coming up in the usual time slot. There'll be a podcast. There will be GarageBand Weekly next week. And of course, the happy hour as we speed towards the 5-year anniversary of the happy hour, if you can believe it. We've been doing these live shows for near on 5 years, which is pretty extreme in my book. So thank you everyone for being here. As we say at the end of each and every show, please, it's more important than ever that you're kind to yourselves. It's more important than ever that you're kind to each other. And don't forget to keep creating, folks. And I'll see you next time here on GarageBand Weekly. Bye for now.